Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you? I'm Ibraheem Masoud, and today I will be teaching you about control of cardiac output as seen in the title. Now, it's very important to know what controls our cardiac output, or rather, meaning the flow of the blood. So, you know how your organs, your muscles, and everything needs blood. It's like your doctor gave you an example that there is a town that needs water supply. Our body needs blood supply for nutrients, for oxygen delivery, and to take the waste away. So we need to reach a certain pressure to provide our body with the right amount of nutrients, oxygen, and take away the waste per minute. So 5 liters per minute is the optimum. It can go up and down depending if you exercise, if you're sleeping, it depends. So it changes. It's a variable. So this is the control of blood pressure that we're talking about. Now, control of blood pressure, that's the first part of this lecture. It's a very long lecture, so bear with me. Second part will be local control. And it's a very fun part. I love it. The local control, it's so nice. And the last one is the venous cardiac function. It's two graphs, the two lines. It's a very easy thing to understand, very easy concept. But all I need from you to do is your heads, ears, eyes, everything into the lecture now. Focus very well and think straight, think correctly. And if you have any questions, you can stop me anytime and ask me. I'll take questions even before I finish each part. It's okay. So you have seen this before. It's an equation telling you that the mean arterial pressure or the average pressure in the arteries in our body is equal to how much blood is leaving the heart or the cardiac output multiply the resistance. So let's take a hypothetical here. Now, if we increase the cardiac output, we push more blood out of the heart. So we increase, let me put the laser pointer right here. We increase this variable. What will happen to the pressure? The pressure will increase because we are putting more blood into the arteries. We're pushing more blood. So it's like when you push more water into a bottle, the pressure inside it will increase. What about the resistance? How does that affect the pressure? If we increase the resistance, so let's say you are holding a water bottle like this. If you increase the resistance and push it to its limits, and then try to put water in it, what will happen? You will feel there is high pressure. It's trying to inflate, but you're pushing it, but you're resisting. That resistance, when it increase, you increase the pressure. So now we should understand the relationship between the output, resistance, and pressure. More pressure, more cardiac output. More resistance, more pressure. Good? They all function. Your body controls these variables to control the other variables. So for example, when someone is having high blood pressure, his vessels will dilate. So to decrease the resistance, if you're resisting, putting more pressure. If you resist less, then you put less pressure. It's logic, common sense. Now, this is what I talked about. So you have this heart and you have the artery. Let's say, let's put a concept here. How do you increase the cardiac output in your heart? You see this muscle sign? This is your contractility. So say there's a balloon filled with water and you want to increase how much water is exiting from the balloon. So you squeeze more. That squeezing more is called the contractility. And I'm sure you're all aware of what contractility is by now. So when you increase the contractility, what will happen to the blood pressure? And what will happen to the cardiac output? Because now you're contracting the heart, increasing the squeeze, squeezing all the blood out. All this blood will go into the artery, which will increase the cardiac output as seen here. Because you're pushing everything out. This is common sense. And when you push everything out or increase the cardiac output, what will happen to the pressure? Increase or decrease? You pushed everything out. And everything is like going. That pressure will increase. If you said increase, you're correct. Understood? Now let's put the resistance into play. Say the heart is pumping normally without muscle, nothing. It's just normal contractility. But this time, you squeeze the artery. You make it tight or increase resistance, right? That increase of resistance, what will happen to the pressure now? Now you squeezed it. So there is more or less pressure inside. You're squeezing. There's more pressure, right? Now, this concept very clear to everyone. I hope so. I don't want to spend so much time here. This is the basics. If you have any questions, ask me now, because if you don't understand this, you're not going to understand what's after it. So make sure you understand this concept of pressure, resistance, and output, because everything after is built on this. All understood? I'm not sure if I'm seeing the chat. Is the chat working? Okay, so if you have anything, and I know I just opened the chat, you can, okay, I can write there. Great, amazing, amazing. Okay, perfect. Now, why does this matter? As I told you, your body is in need of oxygen, constant need of oxygen and blood supply. If you don't have oxygen or nutrients, your organs and your cells will die. It's simple. So adequate supply of O2 and nutrients need adequate blood pressure. This is why you need this constant blood pressure. If someone is having low blood pressure, he will feel dizzy. Why will he feel dizzy? Because there is not much oxygen reaching the brain, and the waste is not exiting enough from the brain. There's low pressure. So low blood is reaching the brain. He will feel dizzy and he will collapse if it's too low. And if it's too high, what will happen? That so much high pressure will damage all these arteries. So it will result in very bad diseases that you will hear about in your clinical years later. So we need the pressure at a sweet spot, right? That's why it matters to regulate. And now that we will talk about, learn how to regulate and what systems God put in our body to regulate this blood pressure, because it's very sensitive. Increase is harmful, decrease is harmful. We need it to be in the middle. So did, how did Allah create us in a way, subhanallah, to regulate this very sensitive variable in our body? And take a look. It's a very beautiful system, mashallah. Let's take a look together. So normally, anything in this world, not just the blood pressure, anything, if you put a stimulus, so input, someone will sense the stimulus. Like, so for example, if you hit someone, that's a stimulus, he will feel the pain, sensor, and then he will control, okay, think what should I do, and then hit him back, but don't hit anyone and don't hit anyone back. I'm just giving you an example that there is input, and then someone will feel it, and then someone will think what to do, and then he will take action. Correct? You all agree? This is exactly what's happening in the blood pressure. Say blood pressure change. Blood pressure is changed now. Increase or decrease. Who will sense this blood pressure? Who will sense to take, oh, it decreased or it increased? Who will think about that? The baroreceptors. Things called the baroreceptors in our body, they sense the change in blood pressure. Now, who will control? Who will think what to do? Or what does that sensor mean? That is called, it is in the brain. So there is a brain, and there is a brain, it becomes spinal cord. Between the brain and the spinal cord, there is an area called the brainstem. It's out of your level now, but just know that there is someone, he's a hero called nucleus tractus solitarius. He's found in the part that's called the medulla and the brainstem. All of this is out of your level. Just know the NTS, or nucleus tractus solitarius. This is a legend. He's a control. He's a mastermind. When the baroreceptor tell him, oh, there is a problem blood pressure, he will think, oh, what's this problem? And then he will give you an output, a reaction to who? Heart and blood vessels. Because remember, we agreed that the pressure is controlled by the cardiac output. So how much blood is going out of the heart, so heart, and blood vessels, how? By squeezing, narrowing, or relaxing the blood vessels. This is how you control the blood pressure, and this is a truly beautiful system. And now we will delve deeper into each one of them and see what exactly in our body, like the baroreceptors, which baroreceptors. I'm sure you have read this before. There are like 6 or 7 baroreceptors. The nucleus, how does it do its work? And it's all very simple. It's a process: input, process, output, etc. Let's take a look at the sensors. So your doctor said there is high pressure and low pressure baroreceptors. But by the way, they are all the same. They all have the same job. But why did your doctor say these are high pressure, these are low pressure? Simply, let's think about it together, me and you together. Let's think. Now, you know from your first block foundation that probably you, I think, took that, or from your first lecture, even CVP, that the left ventricle is so strong. Left ventricle, look at how thick it is. It pumps blood so strong because it wants to reach all of the body. But the right ventricle, it's not as strong as the left ventricle. And the atria and the veins are not as strong as the arteries. You all agree, صح? We all agree that the arteries and the left system generally is more powerful, has more pressure. Let's look at this. Carotid. So carotid is pumped from the left ventricle, carotid, to your brain. This is high pressure point. Aortic arch. It's right here when right after the left ventricle. So left ventricle, aorta, carotid. All of these are high pressure points. What about left afferent arterial? Afferent means going into. Efferent means exiting. So afferent means the blood going into the kidney. Now the blood going into kidney also is high pressure because any artery, just take it as a rule, any artery is high pressure except the arteries of the pulmonary system. Why? Because they are leaving from the right ventricle, and right ventricle is not high pressure system. It's strong, but not as strong as the left ventricle. You all agree with this. So anything that comes out from left ventricle to the arteries, high pressure. Right ventricle to the pulmonary artery, low pressure. What about the atrium and vena cava? You all know that the veins have low pressure and the atrium has low pressure, right? Why does the atrium has low pressure? To allow the blood to come into it. And the veins have low pressure, again, to allow blood to come from the artery to the vein to the artery, even less pressure. So these are just classifications. They're not really, doesn't really mean that if it's high pressure, this will react. If it's low, this will react. They have the same function. They have the same job. It's just that these are high pressure points, these are low pressure points. Now, let's delve deeper, even further. How does this control happen? Now we learned what is carotid sinus. Okay, someone asked what is carotid sinus. So I will simplify this for you in a very nice way. What are these baroreceptors in general? What is this baroreceptor? You see how a neuron in your brain, what is a neuron? I think you took it in foundation. Neuron is about a nucleus and axon. Axon is just a material that the electricity travels through, and the nucleus is where signals happen to shoot and receives signals. Now, when we say nucleus, like this one, nucleus tractus solitarius or baroreceptor or sinus, all of these are just multiple small cell bodies or nuclei together that have different function, different job. So in our carotid arteries, there is a place that has multiple small cell bodies, right? They are like neurons, but they don't have axons. They are just the cell body part. These are called sinuses, carotid sinus, just a name for it. And they are found right here. And when there's high pressure or low pressure, they will sense it. I will tell you more about it in the coming slides. But clear, it's just a nucleus of a cell. Sure thing. Or multiple nuclei, not just one, it's multiple. Now the control. Now the control. This is the important part. So we said, okay, there is increase in blood pressure. Someone, la samah Allah, is having a problem in his circulation and his blood pressure is going up. What will happen? Now, because of the blood pressure going up, remember, when you increase the pressure, what will happen here mechanically? You will feel it. Put your hands like this and let someone just keep pushing in your hand. This is called increase in pressure. Increase pressure. This mechanical stimulation or stretch of the carotids or aortic sinus or whatever artery that has this sinus will increase the firing of the baroreceptor. What does the baroreceptor say? So the baroreceptor is sitting like this, and then he feels pressure. Help! Help! There's too much pressure. Who is it calling? Hello, help! Help! Who is the 911? Nerves. Through what? Through nerves to the brain, to the nucleus. Remember the control. So the baroreceptor is sitting. Pressure. Help. It starts increase the firing. Right? Increase the firing. The nucleus will wake up. Oh, he's calling me for help. By the way, which nerves? Now, this is just mentioned. I'm not sure if you have to know it at your level, but it's mentioned in lecture that these are through the glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve, which are cranial nerves 9 and 10. So these nerves, they go to the nucleus, be like, whoa, wake up. Our friend needs help. He's saying there is high pressure. Please help us. What to do? The nucleus solitarius says, no problem. I got this. It will wake someone up. It will call, see, the nucleus tractus solitarius will call someone for help. It will not do it on its own. And when I say wake up, what does the wake up mean? It means stimulate, not inhibit, okay? Wake up means stimulate. Who will it stimulate? It will stimulate something called the caudal ventrolateral nucleus. Again, it's just a caudal ventrolateral, it's just a place of cell bodies that's in front of the brainstem. Caudal and ventrolateral, right? Nucleus. Someone is there. This guy be like, oh, hello, you need my help? Say less. Go to sleep. Who will it put to sleep? It will put the vasomotor to sleep. Who is the vasomotor, guys? What is the vasomotor? So the nucleus solitarius will receive the signal from the baroreceptor that there is high blood pressure. The nucleus solitarius will tell the caudal ventrolateral nucleus, hello, nucleus, please help us. There is high blood pressure coming from the baroreceptor. Can you tell vasomotor to shut up? Can you tell him to stop? Stop what? What does the vasomotor do? The vasomotor, see, it puts it to sleep. The vasomotor stimulates the bulbospinal pathway to increase the blood pressure, to constrict the vessels, increase cardiac output. But now, when the caudal ventrolateral nucleus tells it, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, like remember when I reminded this to Hulk, go to sleep, خلاص, stop, 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 there's high blood pressure. What will happen? It will stop sending signals. The signals it sends to the vessels and heart are through the bulbospinal pathway. It's just how it's called. Now, I know all these names might be complicated, but it's just a system. One message to another message to another message. Message keeps jumping from one place to another. That's all it's about. As we said, nucleus. Hello, other nucleus. Tell vasomotor to stop. Okay, hello, vasomotor, go to sleep. When I say go to sleep, it's inhibitory neurons, so GABA. And wake up is glutamine. I'm not sure if you have to know this. These are like a bit advanced, but it's mentioned. I have to mention it. So the result, when the vasomotor stops waking up the bulbospinal pathway or stops doing its work, there will be decreased sympathetic activity and increased parasympathetic activity. Remember, when we say decreased sympathetic, what does it mean? Decreased sympathetic and increased parasympathetic. Heart, what does it do? Blood vessels, what does it do? So for the heart, it increases the heart rate, decreases the contractility or the squeezing, and it dilates because there is narrow, so there is high blood pressure. Now relax. خلاص, no more high blood pressure. Relax. Heart, relax. Everyone relax. We don't need to put too much pressure. This is the parasympathetic taking over the sympathetic. Why? Because the caudal ventrolateral nucleus told the vasomotor to stop. Vasomotor increases the sympathetic. When you tell it to sleep, it will stop increasing sympathetic. So the parasympathetic takes over. Now we're done. We restored blood pressure. Subhanallah, this beautiful system. Did you guys understand the system before we complete? Because if you understand the system, 50% is done. Let's see. Perfect. The rest, I'm assuming yes. Okay. No questions so far. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Now the opposite. The opposite. I will test you. You will tell me this. Would someone like to volunteer to? Can you please repeat the? Wait, there is a question. The caudal ventrolateral nucleus. Yep, absolutely. So when the baroreceptor is put so much pressure, it will start firing, screaming, fire, 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 help, 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 help. Now someone called the nucleus tractus solitarius will wake up. Oh, what's up? What's up? What's wrong? Okay, I will help you. I will help you. It will call its friend the ventrolateral caudal nucleus. This nucleus, what it does is it either stimulates or inhibits the vasomotor. Now, you know the vasomotor, it has more sympathetic activity. So if we have high blood pressure, okay, will the caudal ventrolateral nucleus tell vasomotor to stop, so inhibit it, or stimulate it? What do you think? Inhibit it, correct. So it will put it to sleep. This is what it's all about. Its job is just to listen to the nucleus tractus and to decide what to do with the vasomotor. Okay, that's its job. Now, what is it exactly? It's, again, any nucleus, it's multiple cell bodies. So exactly like a neuron, just take the cell body part, put multiple of them. This will be called a nucleus or a ganglion. Same thing, or a sinus. They're all the same. Clear? Does it inhibit it so it decreases the heart rate? Yes, it inhibits it not just only to decrease the heart rate, to decrease the contractility as well. Because when you squeeze more, there's more pressure. But now you want to decrease the pressure, so you squeeze less or relax, calm down. And to the vessels, it will relax, calm down. Another question: the vasomotor has parasympathetic activity. The vasomotor has sympathetic activity. Now, when you stop the sympathetic activity, who will take over? Because you know everything in our body, every visceral organ is almost every, not all, almost is by both systems. So when you inhibit one system, the sympathetic, who will take over? Parasympathetic. So the parasympathetic will be alone because the other one is sleeping. So everything will decrease, everything will relax. But it's not from the vasomotor. It's not from the vasomotor. That's a keep it in mind. It's a different innervation that you don't have to know at your level because sympathetic comes from one place and parasympathetic from another place. Sometimes they come from the same place, but it's you will know in neuro, inshallah. Any more questions, guys? Yes. The vasomotor stimulates the bulbospinal pathway. Bulbospinal is a sympathetic path. Sympathetic means it makes everything go hyper, go more pressure. But now, when you stop it, as you can see the red X, when you stop it, you will stop the sympathetic and you will stop the bulbospinal pathway. Clear? Of course, anytime. So, would someone like to volunteer or would you like to text in the chat? It's up to you guys. But I want some interaction because I explained the previous one. Now it's your turn to explain this one. Okay? I want to test your understanding. So, decrease in blood pressure, guys. What will it do to the baroreceptor firing? Increase or decrease? Firing. Decrease, decrease, increase. Said increase, it's wrong, it's decrease. Because we said the baroreceptor is sitting. If there is more pressure, it screams fire, 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 fire. But if there is no pressure, whoa, it's too quiet. We need more blood pressure. And this is what's happening. So it's decrease firing of the baroreceptor. Now, this decrease firing, what does that mean? The nucleus will be like, oh, it's too quiet. This guy normally fires a little bit. When blood pressure is high, fires so much. But when there is low blood pressure, it fires very less. It's too quiet. What will the nucleus do to the caudal ventrolateral? Hello, caudal ventrolateral nucleus. What do you want to do now? No, you don't inhibit anything. You just call it. Yes, you inhibit it. You call it that. Don't inhibit. So you call the inhibitor. Tell the inhibitor not to inhibit the stimulator. So you call it correct. You said yes, it will stimulate the vasomotor. Correct also, but how? So this is exactly how it happened. The nucleus tractus will call the caudal ventrolateral. Be like, bro, stop inhibiting the vasomotor because the blood pressure is low. Do not inhibit the vasomotor. So it will inhibit the inhibitor. Now, no more sleeping pills. It will not put inhibition on the vasomotor. The vasomotor will wake up the bulbospinal. Bro, bulbospinal, go, go, go. Do your stuff. Do your thing. What is this thing? What it will do? What is her thing? The bulbospinal pathway. It will increase the sympathetic, decrease parasympathetic. The heart will start pumping more, squeezing more, and increase narrowing of the vessels because we need to increase and restore the pressure back to its place. Wow. Very beautiful system. SubhanAllah. You see? What do you think? Do you have any questions? No questions? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. It means you all understand, MashaAllah. Okay. So this is just, when I say nerves, I mean glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve. When I say wake up means through what hormone? Glutamate hormone. When I say sleep or inhibit, it's through the GABA hormone. And the GABA, we might have seen it in the dream water shot. You take it, you go to sleep. It has melatonin, serotonin, and GABA. So GABA, it's inhibitory. Glutamate is excitatory. So here, the nucleus will inhibit the CVN. The CVN will not inhibit the vasomotor. The vasomotor will excitate the bulbospinal, which is just this is just like for your information to know what exactly I meant. The bulbospinal pathway, this is its job. It's a sympathetic pathway, increases heart rate, contractility, vasoconstriction. I said all of this before. It's just organized to for your reference if you're reading this again to know what I mean in the diagram. Now we are done. Imagine this is the summary of what I said. So let's take it one by one. This is exactly what I said. It's just in a more fancy diagram with circles. So you can read it. I think you can read it on your own if you want. But here, let's take one example. It's saying there is raising blood pressure, baroreceptor stimulated. This is what will happen. Vasomotor will inhibit, cardio accelerated inhibit, decrease heart rate, vasodilation. We have a question. So in lower blood pressure, we stimulate something inhibitory that inhibits glutamate. We stimulate something, no, no. You can say we, and you can say stimulate something inhibitory. It's not exactly this. Glutamate, you don't inhibit it or excite it. Glutamate is the hormone. It's like a key to the door. So you either open the sympathetic door or open the parasympathetic door. It's not like you inhibit glutamate because glutamate is something you excite. It's like caffeine, wakes you wake up. Glutamate, but don't take glutamate because it will make you hyper. And GABA is something that will inhibit or suppress the neurons. If you remember in action potential, no, glutamate is not inhibitory. It's excitatory. GABA is inhibitory. GABA is inhibitory. Glutamate excitatory. Now here what's happening, these nerves will go to the nucleus tractus. The nucleus tractus will inhibit the caudal ventrolateral via GABA. Now because this is inhibited, the vasomotor will mind its own business. خلاص, no one is stopping it. You get it? You have to understand the relationship between one and another because it could be this stimulates this, or this does not inhibit this and this works alone. So you get what I mean. Sometimes there is an organ that's working by itself and you need to stop it, or an organ that's not working and you need to stimulate it. Glutamate is used in low blood pressure state. Glutamate, it's not exactly this way because here you're using GABA. Like it depends. Okay, let me give you an example. I will make you understand this. Say I have two people, me, and there is two people. One I call him when I need him to raise the blood pressure. One I call him when I need to lower the blood pressure. So I have two. Now, if I give one glutamate and the other GABA, the other will sleep, and the one I gave glutamate will start doing the work. If I give this one GABA and this one glutamate, this one will sleep and this one will do the work. So it just depends on what am I giving and to whom. That's how you want to think about it. So what is the job of nucleus tractus solitarius? It's related to the caudal ventrolateral nucleus. The caudal ventrolateral nucleus, what's its job? Its job is to either inhibit the vasomotor or watch it. When does it inhibit it? When there is high blood pressure. When does it watch it? When there is low blood pressure. So when there is high blood pressure, the caudal ventrolateral will give the vasomotor sleeping pill or GABA when there is high blood pressure. When there is low blood pressure, it will not do anything. It will just sit back and watch. So you can't really say glutamate is used in high blood pressure or low blood pressure. It just depends on who are you giving it to, right? Because if you give it to someone that makes you relaxed, you get the idea, the relationship now. But I would suggest you not to overthink this pathway. He will not likely ask you much about it. Just know how the relationship works. Like in this one, for example, when I say wake up, the nucleus wakes this up via what? Here in this scenario, it will give it glutamate. In this scenario, it will give it GABA. This is the only thing that changed. The relationship between these two. This is the most important line or relationship. So when this gives this GABA, this one will work. When this gives this glutamate, see, this one will sleep. So you get it. So this is high blood pressure. This will give this glutamate, and this will give this GABA. Because you're waking up different systems and making different systems go to sleep. Do you guys understand? No, don't memorize it this way. Don't say glutamate in high and GABA in low. It's not what you use in high or what you use in low. Think of it like acetylcholine, epinephrine, or epinephrine. You don't use one in high or one in low. It just depends on what you want to do. You get me? Neurotransmitters, these are just signals. So you can't say I use this when this, because here you're using both. Like high blood pressure, you're using both. But you can say I stop the sympathetic and increase the parasympathetic. How do you stop the sympathetic? By waking up the inhibitor. How do you wake up the inhibitor? By giving him glutamate. So you give the inhibitor glutamate, and the inhibitor will give the sympathetic GABA. See? You used both. It's just what you use and where you use it. You get the idea now. But in the second scenario, there is low blood pressure. So the nucleus will give the caudal GABA, and the vasomotor will give excitatory neurotransmitter to the bulbospinal pathway. The same hormones are used in both scenarios, but it's just different of where you are using them. And how does that happen? Based on the stimulus. Now you get the idea. Amazing, amazing. Okay. So it's not like when someone says you high blood pressure, you use something, low blood pressure, you use something. No, it's in our brain, everything is being used at the same time. Right now, you are sitting, صح, you are awake, you are aware, but everything is being used for some things. For example, when you're sitting down, your muscles are sleeping, but you are awake. Your brain is awake. But when you stand up, your muscles are awake now. So it just depends on what you're doing and what you're using. Okay. So this is the summary thing. All I want you to do is understand what's going on here. That when there is high blood pressure, use parasympathetic. Low blood pressure, sympathetic. Why? This is the relationship. This diagram is my favorite, the one on the right. This is what I want you to know. Very simple, very straightforward. So over here you use GABA between NTS and ventrolateral. Here yes, we use GABA to sleep. So here we inhibit the inhibitor so that the activator goes. This is what most important, you know this. You see this diagram on the right? If you understand this, خلاص, you're good for the next 2 hours. And even in the exam, you don't need more, like much more. This is what just was in depth because I saw them mentioned in your lecture, so I want to make sure you understand them. Now, صح, we said that there are ganglion, sorry, carotid sinus here. This sinus, and I'm sure you have seen someone, maybe an elderly, adjust or remove his collar if he's wearing a thobe or a shirt and he just feels dizzy and suddenly he feels like he wants to collapse, he removes the first two buttons. Why? Because sometimes these buttons are so in touch with the carotids that they will massage it or like touch it. And this touch, remember, mechanical stimulation will trick the sinus into thinking it's high blood pressure. But in reality, it's just from outside. There is no high blood pressure. The outside, it's you're pressing on it, but don't try it because you actually might collapse. I mean, that's why they say don't do this for two reasons. One, because you're cutting off the supply. Two, this baroreceptor reflex, carotid sinus reflex. And when someone is having high blood pressure, they sometimes in the clinic do this carotid massage so that they stimulate the baroreceptors more. And when you stimulate the baroreceptor more, you are doing this pathway to make the blood pressure go down. But it's not like the ultimate treatment. It's just they use it clinically. And the carotid sinus syndrome, it's God forbid, Allahumma afina, it's a syndrome where these receptors are so sensitive that even when you turn your head or like when you wear a shirt or something, it will make it go crazy and then you will have very bad problems. So this is just the clinical aspect of it. Now, note something that these baroreceptor mechanisms, they are short term. What does that mean? What does that short term mean? It means that if someone, Allahumma afina, has long term hypertension or like high blood pressure for a long period of time, these baroreceptor will adjust their senses based on the new blood pressure. So they will start adjusting right now the threshold or the adjustment in your body, in my body, alhamdulillah, we don't have any hypertension problems, is on 120 over 80. But in someone with chronic hypertension, they will readjust, they will start want to make the new normal, they unlock a new normal value, which is not normal. So that's why we call them short term. They only change, for example, when you stand up, try it. When you now stand up, all of this, what explained, happens in 1 second. When you stand up, you feel sometimes dizzy, your heart rate is starting to go up, and then you start feel you're tense. Why? Because all your blood is going down, which decreases the firing, which tells the nucleus, oh, there's low blood pressure because all your blood went down. So now your heart rate will start to pump more. This is short term because short term, it's just you wake up, you stand up, you sit down, you run. Short term. What is for long term? For long term, there is the RAS system, renin angiotensin system. Then angiotensin, aldosterone. The second is aldosterone. Okay. This is a very simple system. Very simple. Now the doctor said don't focus too much on it, and you will. I know you will take it in the renal block, which is next block, but I will just go briefly over it. Now, what is the job of the RAS system? If we say the RAS system is activated, when is it activated? Let's see. So, bear with me. Low blood pressure will increase renin. Renin will cut angiotensinogen. It will cleave it. Angiotensinogen will become angiotensin 1. Angiotensin 1 will be converted to angiotensin 2 by ACE or angiotensin converting enzyme. Till now, nothing special. It's just action, reaction. So the reaction of low blood pressure is this. This cuts this. So this increases, and then this converts this to this. Till now, nothing happened. The angiotensin 2 has a function or multiple functions in the body. Look, let's take a look at its functions. Vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction. So if we have low blood pressure, we need to increase the blood pressure. So it will narrow the vessels, make them tense. It will increase aldosterone, and it will increase ADH or antidiuretic hormone. What is the function of aldosterone and what is the function of antidiuretic hormone? The function of aldosterone is to take and reabsorb or retain more sodium and water to the body. If we put more sodium and water in our body, this will increase the blood volume. So we will fill our blood more, become more full, and increase the pressure because we want to increase the pressure. What does ADH do? ADH will take more water in, again, to fill the vessels, to fill the body with water in the blood and increase the blood pressure. Easy, easy. Correct? Or you want me to repeat anything? This is a summary of the RAS system. Any questions? Water retention means you are taking more water, so your kidney filters water. When it filters water, some of them go as urine into the bathroom, and some of them are absorbed back to the body. So if there is low blood pressure, your kidney will take more water to the body. It will save it. Now, if you fill, now you have a water bottle. If you fill it with more water, fill, what will happen to the pressure? Go up or down? And this is exactly why. Because here our blood pressure is low, so we need to increase it. You got it? That's why water retention increases blood pressure. Got it? Perfect. Perfect. And by the way, this is interesting. Antidiuretic hormone. What does antidiuretic hormone mean? Let me tell you something that's a diuretic. So antidiuretic makes you go to the bathroom less, which means saves water. Diuretic hormone makes you, there is no diuretic hormone, but diuretics, like stuff that are diuretics, they make you to go to the bathroom more. Like what? Like caffeine. Caffeine is diuretic. It makes you put more water down your kidney and your bladder, and you go to the bathroom more. So this is just interesting relationship. You can now think, that's why caffeine makes you go to the bathroom more, and that's why antidiuretic. Now, caffeine has more, of course, actions on the GI, on the brain, on the heart, makes your heart speed. It has many actions, but one of them on the kidney is this. It's just interesting to know. So again, sodium and water retention will increase the blood pressure. Why? Because you're filling more blood, more pressure. Do you have any questions? Any questions? If you don't have any questions, I'm gonna ask you a question myself. Well, it seems I'm gonna ask you a question myself. Okay. Now this is not my question. This is your doctor's lecture. I want to make sure you understand it. Do you want me to go over it or do you understand it? Just because it's so long. I can go over it. I don't mind. Let's pick random questions. Okay. So if there is more pressure, what will happen to the efferent activity in bulbospinal pathway? Remember the bulbospinal pathway? Inhibit. The red X, صح? The red X. So it will decrease. Correct. Correct. Okay, if blood pressure is high, the output from nucleus, the nucleus will call someone. Remember the calling? Hello, yeah, CMV. So what will happen? It will increase, صح? Increase, correct. Output from the dorsal motor nucleus of the vagus. Vagus, yes. Increase, correct. Because the vagus is parasympathetic. So it will, we need more parasympathetic. Uh, resistance, this is important. Resistance, if the pressure increase, if you want to take it down, you will increase or decrease resistance. Decrease resistance. يا سلام يا سلام. The rest, يعني, I'm not sure if there is anything. It's mostly like basic physiology. If you have any questions from it, I will stop and explain it. But from what I see, it's all common sense. Like it's all whatever is sympathetic will stop, and the parasympathetic will increase. Like 9 and 10 are parasympathetic, increase. Nucleus ambiguous, we said it will call someone, increase. Glossopharyngeal, again, it's parasympathetic, increase. Vagal again, vagus or 10 is also parasympathetic, increase. Slope of phase 4 action potential. So slope of phase 4, it is sympathetic. If you increase the slope, you increase the activation, but you're not going to increase the activation or decrease the activation. So decrease. Camp, camp is excitatory, and we don't want to excite, we want to relax, so decrease. Epinephrine makes excite, but we want to relax, so again we decrease it. Flux, L-type, again calcium, decrease, because we want to. Nucleus ambiguous is same as nucleus tractus solitarius. Yeah, I think they're the same. I'm not sure though. I am not sure. You can look it up, but no, I think nucleus ambiguous has multiple nuclei in it, if I remember correctly. That's why it's called ambiguous. It has multiple nuclei in it. And the tractus solitarius is like one pathway of it. So you might want to check this out. Like Google it. What's a relationship between both? Because I'm not quite sure. Now flux, again, calcium makes contract more. Now we want to relax, so decrease the calcium. Again, decrease the calcium here. So this is just you're increasing parasympathetic, decreasing sympathetic. You want to relax, everything calm down. Okay. Let's see. You want to answer this question? I'll give you 1 minute or until I see answers in the chat. Okay, so someone is sleeping and remember yourself. Remember yourself. When you're sitting so much on TikTok or Instagram Reels and then scroll, and then you suddenly stand up, your heart. Why? Because your blood pressure goes down. So you want to increase sympathetic, which you all got correct, mashallah. Uh, Going back to the nucleus solitarius question and ambiguous, they are in the same pathway. Okay, they are in the same pathway. So for now, for your level, say they're the same thing, but more details will be in the neuroblock, inshallah. Next question. Won't it also decrease the cardiac output? Let's see. Wait, someone is saying decrease cardiac output. Someone is saying, okay, I will tackle both. First, cardiac output. Yes, you're right. The blood will stay in the blood, but here it did not. You, by the way, this is smart. This is a smart comment you just said that yes, the blood will go down, the cardiac output will decrease. But I want to ask you a question. Here it's saying compensatory. So to compensate or to make up for what just happened, do you decrease the cardiac output? To compensate. It didn't tell you what will happen. It tells you to compensate. Exactly. So that's not how you compensate. And again, someone said C is correct. Someone just messaged me. Again, this is the same thing. It didn't tell you what happened. To compensate. Now you want to increase the pressure. Will you make the vessels more relaxed or more tense to increase the blood pressure? You will not decrease the TPR, you will increase it. So as a reaction, your body to compensate, it will, in this question, it will increase contractility, increase heart rate. It will increase the resistance. It will increase the cardiac output, correct? To compensate, to make up. Okay. I will give you, let's say 30 seconds. So what does orthostatic hypotension mean? Hypotension. First of all, orthostatic hypotension, let's take it one by one. Orthostatic hypotension means when someone is sitting and he stands up, blood pulls down, and then he goes into shock. There is low blood pressure. What did we say the baroreceptor does when you stand up to compensate short term? If the baroreceptor is not there or suppressed, what will happen? You will experience an orthostatic hypotension. So when you stand up, hypotension will be there because there is no baroreceptor's response. It's suppressed. And it's a short-term thing. It's a short term. So eliminate A and B. A and B wrong because it's short term. And A and B are long term. Orthostatic hypotension. So when you stand up, we just said it. When you stand up, your baroreceptor mechanism will increase your heart rate, will increase your resistance, will increase your cardiac output, contractility. But with someone with a diminished or suppressed receptor system, he will have hypotension when he stands up. And this is a thing. It's found in many diseases, by the way. Do you guys agree? I don't know. If you guys agree with me, tell me. If you don't, also tell me. Agree or disagree? That if someone has a problem or suppressed baroreceptor mechanism, when he stands up, hypotension. Agree. The rest? Now, someone said a suppressed system of renin-angiotensin system, but again, because this is short term, it's not long term. But if we told you to long term, this will change. But when you stand up, the renin-angiotensin system doesn't do much. It doesn't like do a lot of work. The work is all short term by the baroreceptor. خلاص, all agree, mashallah. Mashallah. Next, and it's one of my favorite concepts of medicine. Wow, why? Why is it one of my favorite concepts in medicine? Local control blood flow is truly, truly beautiful, beautiful. And let me tell you why. Now, you all gym people or people who like to work out, exercise, and everything. By the way, I love to work out, so I'm not telling you wrong. It's the best thing to do, workout. When you work out a muscle, here is the beauty of it. When you work out a muscle, it becomes red, becomes hot, becomes big, pump. What's the pump? When someone is doing chest workout and then his chest is expanded, what's this pump? Why? But wait, didn't we say sympathetic makes us, it like takes over when we work out? Then why are the vessels dilated in our chest muscle? Why only the chest muscle, the one we are working out? What about the bicep? Why is it not red and swollen and pumped? What about my legs? Why, when I train chest, only my chest blood is increased and only the blood in my chest is pumped? Why? Why? The metabolic activity. Someone is already very smart and knows what I'm about to talk about. This is the local control blood flow, my friends. It's not because more blood is supplied. Blood supply is everywhere in the body. But why, when you work out the chest, only the chest will be bigger during the workout? The next day you will work out the bicep will look bigger only during the workout. Why? This is why. This is why. When you are working out, there is adenosine, there is lactate, there is H plus, K plus, increase carbon dioxide, decrease oxygen. It wants more oxygen. It will expand the blood vessels. more blood vessels will go. Now, the same thing happens when you have allergic reaction. Have you seen anyone with red hand after he touches something or a fabric, specific like polyester maybe, and start itching? Why? Because of histamine. And this will appear red and swollen. Why? Because histamine went out locally and expanded all the blood vessels here, so to become swollen. What about other ways? Myogenic, like we learned, vasoconstriction, vasodilation. So in the chest, when we're working on chest, there is vasodilation. And endothelial products, I will come to it after. So let's take it one by one. Metabolic, paracrine, myogenic, endothelial. All of these four components are the reason there is control local of blood flow. Sorry, local control of blood flow. Look, this man walking his biceps. What is his biceps doing so that it's calling for more blood to come to it? This is what it's doing. So the biceps is breaking down ATP. You know, ATP is for energy, صح? ATP is for energy. Breaks it down. Adenosine is a byproduct. Leaves, and the adenosine is like, hey, I need blood. Come here. So dilation, vasodilation. Again, you need more ATP, صح? In your blood, your sorry, bicep, you're working out. Glycolysis, breakdown of sugar, and this byproduct, as you learned, or you will learn, I'm not sure if you took it in biochemistry, but lactate is a byproduct of glycolysis at the end. So lactate will increase in the blood around the biceps, which will also call for more blood to supply, help. Now, lactate also is acid, صح? Lactic acid increases hydrogen ions, which will also call for more help and more blood. Now, because you're working out, as you also learned that you are using oxygen and you are using glycolysis. Glycolysis will increase the carbon dioxide because you're breaking down the sugar, and then the byproduct of breaking down the sugar is also carbon dioxide, which will increase around your bicep, which will also increase for help, help, help. I need more blood. You also need more oxygen. I said it. You need more oxygen because you need to supply your bicep. You're working it out. Now, remember the action potential. Sodium goes in and potassium goes out. If you keep doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 reps, all the potassium is leaving, leaving, because you're doing action potential, action potential, action potential, action potential. So potassium also calls for help. Help, I need more blood supply here. All of this will cause the vasodilation. And this is why when you work out your biceps, only your biceps will expand and look more full, more red, more warm. But your chest, it's not working out. It's not calling for help. It doesn't have adenosine right now, no lactate, no carbon dioxide, no, it doesn't need more oxygen. It doesn't do much action potential. So there is no vasodilation. Vasodilation is the pump, by the way. So the pump you see in your gym, you look so good, you look so big, that's the vasodilation. Why? Because of all of these products. Why? Because you need more supply for your muscle under workout, because you're working it out, so you need to give it more nutrients. Simple. This is a very simple concept. It's one of my favorite concepts in medicine, honestly. This is so beautiful because how this, like our body, subhanAllah, were created in a way that only this area is pumped, not the whole body. Because imagine you're all pumped out because only you work out one muscle. But now, because of the local mediators, you are having pumped in only the muscle you need. So now we're done. One out of 4 done. 25% done. Let's go to the next. Paracrine. Paracrine means hormone in the same area. So you are in your neighborhood and you call someone. So all these factors increase blood supply? Yes, all these factors increase blood supply, which is also known as vasodilation or the pump that you all love. Now, paracrine means neighbor. Could you please repeat this mechanism? Yeah, of course. So you are at the gym and you're working out your biceps. Your biceps are contracting. So action potential. And remember, in action potential, sodium is going in and potassium is going out. So you're increasing potassium. You also need more oxygen because you're working it out. You need more energy. You need more breakdown. You have many byproducts, CO2, lactate, adenosine. These are byproducts of the breaking down of the energy that you are using. And you need even more energy to use, more oxygen. All of this will call the blood vessels in your bicep to expand and give it more. Take blood, take blood. I'm giving you all I can. Take blood, take nutrients. You got it? It's like when you're doing something and someone is giving you more water, more food because you're working. You need energy, of course. Now, paracrine means neighbor. So you in your house, you go to the next room, you give a message, the message goes to the next room. It's neighbor, right? Neighboring. What's around you? So if I say paracrine gland here, it means it will gland only for the around it. What's around it? No, I didn't. It's not a typo. What this means, the increase of carbon dioxide makes vasodilation, and the decrease of oxygen makes vasodilation because we need more oxygen and we need to kick out the carbon. So when the carbon dioxide increases, it means that we need to dilate. And when the oxygen decreases, means we need to dilate to give it more oxygen. Paracrine agents are hormones only. Because like hormones, they have different ways. Some hormones go to the blood, exocrine, endocrine, like the pancreas, insulin. Some go to out of the body, like to the stomach. Some go to around it, like paracrine, histamine. So why histamine goes around? Imagine histamine is all in your body. Imagine histamine goes to your blood. All of your body will become red. All of your body will become itchy. But no, alhamdulillah, we have this mechanism that histamine, if we have itch here, it will only come out here. Why does histamine come out when there is allergic reaction or when there's an infection? Because why do you need to dilate the blood vessels where there is pain or when there is bacteria? Because you want the white blood cells to go there. You want all the immune factors, immune system to go to this area. So you open the way for it. You vasodilate. So this is what it means, paracrine. That's it. We're done. Bradykinin is also same as like it's similar to histamine. Angiotensin 2, I told you about it. It's a paracrine agent, so it goes around in the kidney, stimulates things in the kidney. PGF, PGEs, you didn't take them, and I think it's too early for you to know what they do, but they are inflammatory mediators. It's not, you don't need to know much, but this is just an example. These two are vasodilation. No, paracrine, not all vasodilation. No, you have this, PGF, and angiotensin is vasoconstriction. It just depends on what you want. Paracrine is just like the word paracrine means hormone around you, and the rest it depends on what you want. As I told you, if you have bacteria here, the blood will dilate and will become itchy. Why? Like when mosquito comes and become itchy. Why? Because there is a problem here. So you want all the immune system to go to this area. That's why you open the blood vessels and it will become red. This is just one example, but there is other example like the angiotensin 2. When there's low blood pressure, it will make vasoconstriction. Different example, different stuff. But in this slide, I put the example of itching and bacteria, which will increase those two, and those two will increase vasodilation. That's just what paracrine means, or a way to control the blood flow. Because why this hand is white and here it's red? Because here the blood vessels are dilated. Why? Because there is a stimulus. What's the stimulus? Could be allergen, could be bacteria, could be if you hit someone on the hand, it could be anything, you know. That's what becomes red. And that's why the nose is red and runny. Sometimes the eyes are red, all because of histamine. Histamine is the allergy. Histamine also found in asthma, bradykinin and asthma. They all control allergy and they all increase the blood vessels. That's why there is nosebleed. Sometimes your eyes are red. Now, myogenic. Myogenic means like literally myo muscle. So you contract or relax the muscle. Vasoconstriction, vasodilation. There is nothing special here. We already talked about all of this. So in this example, there is increased flow. So this is a blood vessel, and there is increased flow, increased flow. But you're like, bro, I don't need this much flow. There is a problem. This is excessive flow. What will this do? It will increase the stretch. Because you know, when you increase the flow in the artery will stretch more. When the artery will stretch more, this will open the sodium channels. Sodium channels will come in, will tell, okay, calcium, we have a problem here. There is increased flow that we don't need, and there is increased stretch. I'm being stretched so much right now, and it's bothering me. Please do something. Calcium will say, okay, sodium, don't worry, I got you. So sodium will depolarize the membrane, which will open calcium channels, and calcium, remember, calcium contract, constrict. CCC. Calcium will cause contraction of the muscles of the artery and vasoconstriction. Why? Because remember what we said about the flow. When we increase the resistance or vasoconstriction, what will happen to the flow? Decrease. So we will restore the blood flow. Let me put you to the scenario again. Blood vessel, so much flow, so much stretch. Sodium is angry, depolarize the membrane. Calcium goes in, calcium will contract to allow only limited flow to come in. Contract to allow only limited flow, restore blood flow. Done. Concept done. This is called the myogenic theory of blood flow regulation. Any questions? So stretch, right? When you like, it's like someone pushing you, stretching you, you push back. You stand your ground. Don't push me. That's the blood vessel. Clear? Okay. Perfect. I will say yes. Perfect. Okay. The last theory or the last mechanism, nitric oxide mechanism. Very simple, by the way. Very simple. Very simple. Watch. See these hormones? See these hormones? These hormones, wait, leave shear stress to them. Acetylcholine, bradykinin, histamine. They cause vasodilation. But what's the mechanism or what makes the vasodilation? It's the relaxation of smooth muscle. You agree? When the smooth muscle relax, huh? Relax, vasodilation, dilate, relax. What makes them relax? It's our dear friend nitric oxide. Nitric oxide will make it relax. So these hormones will come, stimulate the cell, allow your cell, release nitric oxide, want you to open up. It will relax. Now, NO, this is not no release, this is nitric oxide, nitric oxide, nitric oxide. Now, what is shear stress? Because this might be confusing for you. Because now you will say, okay, Ibrahim, ya you told us increased stretch will make it constrict. Why here shear stress will make it dilate? Well, this is confusing. Why? Because this is difference. See, normal stretch is when it's equal to all sides and there is flow everywhere. But shear stress, it is what's damaging to the endothelial wall of the artery. You don't want to damage your vessels. So when there is shear stress or stress in a direction that's damaging your blood vessel or like, cutting through, it's like cutting through it, not dilation on all sides like this. No, it's cutting through it, the shear stress. This is what it means. It's what, okay, يا أخي, it's too much cut. Please dilate. Relax. خلاص, relax. Okay? It's not increase the flow. It's not increase stretch. It's shear stress. The stress on the wall will make it relax. It's like when someone is like doing this or like, he's so close to you, so you relax away. You like you dilate, move away from him, and that's what happens. Relax, move away from stress. See, move away. We are done. Wow, that's beautiful. We are done with the second concept of the day. Any questions? And this is what's happening. This I put it here honestly for your information more than what you need. It just means you remember how cyclic AMP is for contraction. Cyclic GMP is here in this case is for relaxation. So this, what I told you about, will have some internal signaling to release nitric oxide. Nitric oxide will cause the relaxation. So these mechanisms right here cause vasodilation or relaxation through nitric oxide. That's it. Done. Easy. Easy, guys. All good. No questions. Any questions? Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Okay. Now let's go to one more part in the local flow. Now we said I gave you all the mechanisms of the local flow. All the mechanisms I gave you. Now you can't tell me you didn't give me a mechanism. No, I gave you the 4 mechanisms. Let's apply it. Let's take real scenarios and apply and see how will this help us in real life. How will this help us? Which we already did, by the way. Like we're almost there. This is nothing. This Autoregulation, active, reactive. This is easy. This is nothing. Watch. Autoregulation, it just means I don't care about you. I'm keeping my flow. Who does this? The brain, the heart, the kidney. Let's take the brain, for example. The brain. If you increase, if you work out, if you run, if you jump, if you swim, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You will give me my blood. You will give me my blood. Can you shift the blood away from the brain to your muscle when you work out? You will fall down. You will collapse. You can't. This is why autoregulation is very important concept, subhanallah. And the driver, by the way, is not like autoregulation, it's like a complicated system. You know who does the autoregulation in the brain? Why is it always maintained? Because the brain is a very metabolically active organ. You are constantly using your brain, correct? So, as a byproduct of the metabolism in your brain, carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide will keep calling. Remember when I told you carbon dioxide calls the blood vessels to increase? This carbon dioxide will keep calling the blood vessels to stay. And if something happened, they will dilate to allow more blood to come to the brain. So it's just the same concept, but the brain here, because it's constantly active, you can't cut off supply from the brain. Same for the heart. If you're working out, you can't stop blood going to the heart. You will die, la samah. Imagine your heart, blood away, take the blood away from it. It's pumping the blood for you. You can't stop. Kidneys, it's emitting the toxins out. Without it, you will keep toxins in your body and you will collapse. That's what autoregulation is. Done. This is the graph in your lecture when there is increase in pressure or decrease. So by the way, it's increase or decrease. So if there is too much blood going to the brain will stop it. If there is less blood going to the brain will open. How? How do you stop? Vasoconstriction, vasodilation. By what? By carbon dioxide. If there is more or less. That's it. See? If there is low blood pressure, the brain will dilate. Come, blood, 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 blood. I need blood, I need blood. If there is high blood pressure, the brain doesn't want to deal with this high blood pressure stuff in our body. No, no, no. To like mind your own business. I need my normal flow. Vasoconstrict. Vasoconstrict. It's like stopping the pressure from going up to the brain because too much pressure to the brain will cause bleeding and bad edema and all of this. Yes, the ultimate control is carbon dioxide, and I will come to it later in the lecture. There is a slide about brain in the lecture that I will show you how carbon dioxide controls it. I will show you. Don't rush, but it's a good note. That's what autoregulation means. Too much pressure, I don't want it. Constrict. Less pressure, no. Give me. Dilate. Same as we learned. There is nothing new. Now active hyperemia. Exactly what we said, by the way. Active hyperemia is this. Remember this slide? It's the same. So when your muscle is contracting, all of these metabolites are exiting. These metabolites will call for vasodilation, more vasodilation. That is active hyperemia. We're done. Now this, wait, let me just, 1 second. Yeah, this just showing you the blood flow or the level of active hyperemia. So when we say a muscle is having active hyperemia, it means the blood flow is increasing in reaction to the metabolites. Now in this graph, I will just explain 2 lines. This line, this line. W means white. White muscles means they don't need much oxygen. Red means they do need much oxygen. So in which one will the blood dilate and give oxygen to? The one that needs oxygen or the one that doesn't need oxygen? The one that needs oxygen or the red. The white doesn't need much oxygen. It just a little bit. So you don't need to dilate. It's like save yourself. Don't dilate. I don't need oxygen. وفرها. Red, I need oxygen. Give me. Dilate. That's it. That is it. So very simple. Reactive hyperemia. So reactive hyperemia is like active hyperemia but without the metabolites. How? Look. Let's say this is an organ. This is an organ. This is a blood vessel. You stop the blood vessel. Once you stop the blood vessel, okay, and then you open again. Now, During that stopping, the blood vessels, they'll be like, bro, there is no blood. Open, 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 open. There's still no blood. And then you open again. Boom, the flow will be so high. That's reactive hyperemia, a reaction to the interruption of blood flow. When you interrupt blood flow, where does this happen? So in the heart. Now, before I go to the heart, this graph means, so here they got a test. They got someone's arm and they put a cuff here. When they put the cuff for 5 minutes and then remove the cuff, there will be significant increase in flow after you remove the cuff. Why? Because imagine stopping the blood flow for 5 minutes. It's exactly like when you're thirsty. Imagine you're thirsty, and then you get water. You drink so much water. This is what happens in the blood vessel. You stop the blood from going to the vessel will start dilate because like, bro, I need blood, open, but nothing's opening. It's obstructed. But then you suddenly open. The flow will be so high because it's very wide open now from the constriction, from the interruption. Easy concept. Someone is thirsty for blood. Once you give him blood, you will drink a lot of blood. But don't drink blood. Drink water. Got it? That is reactive hyperemia. Now we will see the difference between active and reactive hyperemia. So active hyperemia, the blood is okay. No one stops the blood, but there is a lot of metabolites. There is a lot of carbon dioxide, adenosine, H plus, K plus. So the blood vessel will increase, the dilation. Here there is, you stop the blood, then suddenly you open. It will open very wide to compensate for what's gone here. So open very wide, it's reactive. Where does this happen? We will see. So this, by the way, in both, there is adenosine and potassium. So even in reactive hyperemia, there is adenosine and potassium because when you stop the blood, okay, think of this. Again, my arm, you stop the blood, and here the blood is not going. There is breakdown of energy, but no one is picking it up and taking it back to the kidneys or liver. It's stop. Release potassium, release adenosine, because there is activity. The cells are living here. You can't kill them. They are living and they are emitting byproducts. These byproducts will increase, will accumulate because no one's picking them up. Once they accumulate, the blood vessel will dilate. When they dilate, exactly the same concept, because there is no blood. So the blood vessel will dilate. And then you open the blood for it. There will be very high flow. That's it. Very simple. Now, where do these happen? When do our muscles do have active or reactive? It depends on activity. You remember your gym coach when he's like, squeeze. Why do you squeeze? When you squeeze, you're stopping the blood vessels. And when you stop the blood vessels, your muscles will be throwing out K plus and adenosine even more. The squeeze, and then you start feel burning. And then when you unsqueeze, there is a flush. So the pump will be more. See? Different activity, different reaction. Another place where the reactive hyperemia happens is the heart, because when the heart contracts, the blood vessels around the heart will be collapsed for a few split seconds, and this will cause reactive hyperemia. But this is when like the heart contractility is really high. Let's talk. So we said, subhanallah, the heart has a blood supply, okay? It's called the coronary blood flow. Coronary means supply to the heart, because the heart, it also needs blood. The muscles of the heart, they need blood, so it will supply itself. Now, let's say you are working out or running, and there is sympathetic control. We agreed that sympathetic will vasoconstrict, but don't we need more blood flow to the heart? So how will we vasoconstrict? Here, this theory tells you that the heart is controlled more by local factors than nerves. What are the local factors? Again, adenosine, H plus, مش عارف شو. But in the heart, it's mainly because of the need of oxygen and adenosine, because it's breaking down energy and it needs more oxygen. So it will vasodilate. And shear stress, because of the way the heart is, so there will be stress on the endothelium. This will put nitric oxide and increase the dilation. Compression, reactive hyperemia, because look, this is the heart and this is the blood vessel. If you contract, the blood vessel in the heart will be pushed. It's constantly pushed. See? It's constantly pushed. This push compresses the blood vessel. And when you stop the blood flow for a while, it will dilate. And then when you open it back up, it will be very big. Reactive hyperemia. Exactly what we said. All of these overcome the sympathetic innervation. So the blood vessels around the heart, when you're working out or running, they'll be dilated. And it makes sense. When you're running, your heart is like, why? Yes, I will repeat this slide. This slide simply means, now think of it. When you're working out, your heart needs more oxygen or less oxygen? Needs more. So if it needs more oxygen, you want the blood vessels on your heart to constrict or dilate. Answer me. Dilate. Yes. That's it. You're done. And this is what happens. Because of how much we need oxygen in our heart, the vessels around when we work out or run dilate. There is adenosine as a byproduct, also helps. Shear stress because of the pumping, and the vessels are like positioned in this way. And compression because again the heart is hitting the arteries and compressing them, because you know the ventricular muscle is so strong, especially the left ventricle. When it contracts, ooh, very strong. No, they don't decrease sympathetic. No, ما لهم دخل. They are not related to each other. This is alone, this is alone. But sympathetic innervation, it's coming to the heart and it's telling it to vasoconstrict. But these factors are overpowering the sympathetic innervation. So keep a rule in mind. In your body, everything is working, but one thing is working more than the other. So it's, you know, like sympathetic and parasympathetic right now, and all of us are both working, right? But if one takes over the other, you will find differences. Like when you work out, sympathetic will take over in heart rate. Parasympathetic will take over when you're eating, when you're sleeping. So just one takes over the other. Here, the local flow or the factors, mediators, they take over the sympathetic. So they dilate, they win the battle. So this slide just tells you when your heart needs oxygen, it will dilate. Bas, done. Next. Now, let's put you through something. This is reactive hyperemia. Look how the reactive hyperemia works in the heart. Do you know what systole is? Systole is the one ventricle contracts. And you know the ventricle is very strong, especially the left one. The left one is much stronger than the right one. And keep this in mind. Systole, when you contract a muscle, and there are vessels inside of the muscle. So this is muscle, and there are vessels here. What will happen if I contract? Compress these vessels. And when I compress these vessels, what will happen? Remember what I said when you interrupt the blood flow? You increase the metabolic waste, adenosine, and the need of carbon. The need of oxygen. What will happen? Vasodilation. Okay, all of this happens while in systole, like while the ventricle is contracting. Now the ventricle will relax. What will happen in diastole? Big flow. Now finally, it's like when you're blessed and then finally much blood flow. Sorry. It's like you're holding your breath and then you open, you breathe more. So it's the same. You're holding the artery. When you release it, it will flow more. So systole, compress the blood vessels, increase metabolic waste, and then vasodilate. But still, the blood is not going in because it's contracting. Once you relax, all the blood is going in now. Big flow. Also known as reactive hyperemia. Do you guys understand what to have reactive hyperemia? I want you all to say yes. If someone says not yes, I want to explain because I want to make sure you understand this. It is a very simple concept. Very simple concept. If you don't understand, I can repeat for you, no problem. But you know what reactive hyperemia now? Yeah, it is exactly the previous one. It is exactly like the previous one, which is this reactive. Active means metabolites. Reactive means mechanical compression. Done. Sallallahu barak. That's it. So I'm just giving you more examples because these are in your lecture and I need to explain them. Got it? So now can you explain this to someone? Are you confident into explaining it to someone? MashaAllah, amazing. So now this is just philosophy, Sarah. And honestly, I don't know why they say this, but which now in the coronary blood flow, the flow inside of the muscle of the heart, is it more during systole or more during diastole? So the blood flow, is it more when I'm contracting systole or when I'm dilating diastole? Yeah, diastole, exactly. MashaAllah, diastole. Now, in this graph in your lecture, it's telling you that the left what you know what I will ask you this question before I go to the graph. I will ask you, see if you understand, you will understand it correctly. We said that the left ventricle contracts very strong. The right ventricle, it will contract, but not as strong, but it will contract. In which vessel? We have two vessels and two ventricles. In which vessel will the reactive hyperemia be more? In the left ventricle or right ventricle? And why? I want you to explain it. If you explain, I will skip it. خلاص. Left. Why? Why left? Why left? You all say left. But why? Why left? Why left? Stronger contraction. Yes, salam. That's exactly what I want to hear. Yes, because it contract very hard. Because mashallah, all of you said the same thing. So contract harder means you compress more. Yes, left because of greater compression. Mashallah. This makes me proud, wallah. You all understand it. It's thicker, it contracts more. Exactly. Stronger compression, so more reactive hyperemia. Hence this graph. What does more reactive hyperemia mean? It means that after you release it, there is more flow. Which one has more flow after you release it? The left one, as you can see here. The right one is a little bit more. Left one, significantly more. That's it. Done. So as you can see also, remember this one? See, remember this one? The more you compress, the more reaction. It's like the more you deprive yourself from oxygen, the more you need to breathe. The more you deprive you from water, the more you drink water. The more you deprive the blood vessel from blood, the more it will expand and allow flow after. بس concept done. Active hyperemia, autoregulation, active hyperemia, كله done. Now one more. This small concept. Remember what I told you in the cerebral blood flow? Cerebral means the brain. Cerebrum. This is the brain. And brain what says, I don't care about you, I need my flow. I don't care. So whatever happens in our body, the brain is always receiving the same amount of blood. When it's more, it constricts. When it's less, it dilates. What is the controlling factor here? It's carbon dioxide. Because of the high metabolism in the brain, there is constantly carbon dioxide being released from the brain. And when there is more carbon dioxide, the flow will increase because you need more, correct? You need more blood to take it out. When the carbon dioxide is decreased, you will need less blood to come and take it out because, very low carbon dioxide is also harmful. Remember from the acid-base lecture, very low carbon dioxide, we need a certain level. So very high, no, come take it out. Very low, no, don't take it out. We'll take it. Done. That's simple. It's exactly like we said before. Did you get it? That's it. That's the whole concept. MashaAllah, amazing. Any questions, guys? Honestly, I expect it to take 1 hour per concept, but so far we are like 1.5 hours, two parts done. And the third part is even easier. I promise, inshallah, the third part is much easier. Because once you have the base, everything else is easy. Any questions before I move? Yeah, I can go back. Mhm. What about this graph? This graph is telling you when there is more carbon dioxide, or hypercapnia, which means more carbon dioxide, the blood flow will increase. Why? To take it out. It's telling you when there is less carbon dioxide or sympathetic stimulation, okay? Sorry, when there is low carbon dioxide, there will be sympathetic stimulation. Why? To compress the arteries and to allow less blood to take out whatever is there. So here it's just telling you about flow and pressure, like we said, that like it's like this one. Remember the I don't care graph? Yeah, I don't care. It will keep its own blood supply the same the whole time. What decides it? The carbon dioxide, because you need something to do this reaction. It's the carbon dioxide levels. Like when someone is breathing so much, like when elevated, he is kicking out all the carbon dioxide. This compressing the yes, exactly. Compressing the arteries means less carbon dioxide leaving, and dilating means more leaving. It's like you open or close the door, open door, close door, open door, close door. Okay. Ooh, mashallah. Boom, 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 boom. خلاص, I don't need to explain it. I do not need to explain it. You will explain it to me, inshallah. What is this called? What is this called? Ya salam. Reperfusion is perfusion again. Perfuse to give blood. Yeah, ya salam. That's insane. That's amazing, mashallah. Very sweet. Because you're all professionals now, mashallah. Okay, okay, okay. Let's tackle this very swiftly. No rush, but swiftly. Watch. The vein. This is the atrium. You guys know what the right atrium is and what the inferior vena cava is. I believe you all know it. Now, there is no pump in the vein. There is no pump. But what drives the blood to go from the vein to the right atrium? Valves, they stop the blood from falling, but what makes it go up? Smooth muscle, not as much. Like, yes, but it's not enough. It needs one more thing, pressure gradient, difference in pressure. Yeah, skeletal, it does help, but it's not enough. Because I will tell you what, if this is me and this is you trying to give me something, and I put so much pressure, will you be able to push it up? You need so much force. But if I decrease the pressure here, like a vacuum, vacuum, it sucks things up. Why? Because there is low pressure. So there is a rule in life, in physics. Always, things go to from high pressure to low pressure. The inferior vena cava has high pressure, and the atrium has low pressure. So the inferior vena cava will go, the blood will go from the inferior vena cava to the atrium. High pressure to low pressure. High pressure to low pressure. It's like the Pepsi can of or Kinza now. It's high pressure inside. When you do this, psst, high to low. Yes. High to low. Now, how much, I showed you the answer, but how much difference in pressure do you need to drive the flow of 5 liters per minute? To push 5 liters per minute from the vein to the atrium, how much pressure difference do you need? The answer is 8. Someone calculated this and said 8. So this needs to be 10, 2, 12, 4. But of course, 12, 4 is not right. It's 10, 2. Now, I want to ask you a brilliant question. If the atrium pressure is 10, and this is 10. Will the blood go from here to here? No. If the atrium pressure is 5 and this is 10, will more blood go from the IVC to the atrium or less blood go from the IVC to atrium? Less. Okay. You see where I'm going with this? So there's a relationship between how much pressure difference there is and how much blood is flowing. And that, my friend, is called the vascular function curve. Wow. So as you can see, when the right atrial pressure is more, how much blood is going? 0 at 7. Ooh, 7, not even 10. When the pressure is 7 in the atrium, the flow is 0. When the pressure in the atrium is 2, the flow is 5, which is normal. Normal is 5 liters per minute. So we need the pressure to be 2. This is normal. Understood? It's just a relationship. That's it. Now let's do some funky changes. Stay with me. Stay with me, because if you stay with me now, I promise this will be the easiest thing you ever encounter, inshallah. So let's put a hypothetical scenario. Let's say I take someone, put him in front of me, and I infuse him with more blood, more blood, more blood. One by one, what will happen to the flow or the venous return? He has more blood now circulating in his body, so much blood circulating. The venous return will be so much, it will increase. Okay, done. Now there is so much blood. This blood is not going. Where will it go? It will go everywhere. So there is now also so much blood in the atrium. And if there is so much volume in something, in a container, you increase the blood, what will the blood do? The pressure. Increase the pressure. It's like when you fill a water bottle with blood and you pump more blood, more blood, more blood, it will start expanding because you're putting so much pressure. And so, my friends, the graph will change when you change how much blood is going, or sorry, how much volume. If you increase the volume in a man's body, the graph will become looking like this. Because you increase both. Let's take you to another hypothetical. Another hypothetical. Let's say the vein, it's like this. Okay? You decide, okay, how about, now before I tell you what I'm gonna do, vein is compliant. Compliant, when someone is compliant, he's flexible. He takes and gives in. He's flexible, he's nice. What if the vein is designed to be less compliant and be narrow? He will want to be narrow, want to be put pressure. The vein is narrow now. We decreased the compliance and increased the resistance. So it's like when you put water in a tube, narrow tube, the water will go up very quickly. But when you put it in a very big bucket, it will go up slowly. It will hold less blood. What will happen to before it will hold less or more blood? Let's stay away from this. What will happen to the blood going into it? It will go up fast. So there is more or less blood going back to the heart. Venous return. More. There is more now because this is constricted. The blood is flowing back. Can you repeat my internet? Like, no problem. So what I said is, if you have a hypothetical, this is a vein, it's compliant normally. But if you decrease the compliance and make it narrow, it's like when you fill a bucket of water or a tube of water. The tube will fill up more quickly, but the bucket will take time. So this tube, when you fill it up, quickly the blood will flow or the water will flow. Hopefully you don't fill it with blood. But this IVC, when constricted, the blood will go more up. So this will increase. What about the pressure? Now we said that the blood in our body sits in the veins. But now the veins decided, I don't want to be compliant anymore, huh? Strict. Where will the blood sit? Where will the blood sit? I want to answer the question. Where will it sit? In what organ will it sit? It will sit in the right atrium. And what did we say when we increase the amount of something in a container? There is more blood in the right atrium now. More blood in the right atrium means increase in pressure. And the opposite is true, of course. If we decrease the volume or increase the compliance, because when you increase the compliance, the blood will fall from the right atrium to the vein, less pressure. And there will be what comes after the inferior vena cava? Right atrium. That's because it's after it. And then from the atrium go to the ventricle to the pulmonary atrium, It's just what's after it. It will go everywhere, but because normally it's in the veins, but when the veins constrict and become less compliant, this blood will be everywhere. So one of the places it will be in is the atrium. So it will not only be in the atrium, it will be in the atrium, ventricle, atrium, but atrium, the right one, it will also have more blood. And we said general rule of thumb. What are these two curves? They mean more blood in the atrium. This is more blood in the atrium, less blood in the atrium, whether that's transfusion or decreased compliance, whether that's bleeding or increased compliance. You get me? And this is what's happening. Increased blood volume will increase both return, the pink line again. Yes. So the pink line, we said the red line is you put more blood or you make the veins less compliant. The pink line. So let's say the veins are like this and you make them compliant. All the blood will fall in the vein. So now, will the blood go more to the heart or less? In other words, the venous return, what will happen to it? I'm telling you that the veins are holding more blood now. More blood. So if it's holding more blood, there is less blood going to the heart. So the venous return is decreasing. But if there is also more blood in the vein, this means that there is less blood in the atrium. Less blood in the atrium means less pressure in the atrium. That's what that means. Understood? Good, bad. No. Yes, I will repeat one more time. Let me answer to Isra. If there's more blood in the vein, won't the venous return increase? No, because the vein, think of it like a container. If this container is narrow, it will send the blood out of it immediately. But if this container is very wide, it will sit and keep it in it. So it's like I'm keeping it with me and there's giving the heart a little bit. Yes, I will repeat it. Okay, I will repeat it. All three lines. Yes, yes. Let's start from here. So we said there's a relationship between here. You understand the relationship between the IVC and the atrium and the pressure. That if we increase the pressure in the atrium, there is less blood coming to it. And if we decrease the pressure in the atrium, there's more blood coming to it, which makes this graph. See? Increase the pressure, no blood is going to it because you're putting too much pressure. No blood comes to me. If you decrease the pressure, you allow it to come to you. Now, rule. Rule. If you increase the blood in the body, the blood is more everywhere. So there is more return, there is more pressure, there is more everything. Same thing when you decrease the compliance of the vein or constrict the vein. This blood was pooling in the veins originally, but now it's no longer in there. It will go to the rest of the body. One of the places it will go to and sit in is the right atrium. Hence, decreased compliance will affect both the venous return and the right atrium because decreased compliance squeeze the vein, so more venous return. You see, squeeze, more venous return. And because there is more squeezing, this blood is no longer sitting in the vein. It will sit in the atrium, so it will press on the atrium, and hence this graph. And the opposite is true. If you have someone is bleeding, samahallah, bleeding. Now, because he's bleeding, there is less volume in his body, so there is less blood returning, and there is less blood sitting in the atrium, so there is less pressure, and you get this graph. Or if there is increased compliance, same thing. It's like the blood is sitting in the vein, so there is less blood going back to the heart, and less blood sitting in the heart, so that's decreased. The graph. That's it. All got it. You tell me, what's your office breathing? If someone is breathing, if someone is breathing, is there more volume in the body or less volume of blood? And if there is less volume, will there be more blood returning or less blood returning? If there is less volume, will there be more volume sitting in the heart or less volume sitting in the heart? If there is less volume sitting in the heart, will that mean there is increase in the pressure on the heart or decrease pressure in the heart? And that's why this graph is here. Decrease pressure, decrease volume. Let's take the compliance. If you increase the compliance of the vein, yes, exactly. I was just saying, increase the compliance so there's blood wear in the vein. So if the vein is gatekeeping this blood, keeping it with it, right? You understand this gatekeeping term now? I'm not using the young term. So what does that mean? How much blood is going back to the heart, less or more, if it's keeping it with it, or increasing compliance, in other words? Less is going back to the heart, right? So less return. So if also there is the blood is sitting now in the vein, how much blood is sitting in the heart? More or less? We said the vein took it all, خلاص. So less in the heart. And if there is less sitting in the heart, there is more or less pressure? Less pressure. That's easy. Yes, red line is high pressure, pink line is low pressure. Yes. Because look, the point will be here. 1, here 2, here 3. Of course. One more. One more thing affects the this graph. So in short, increase compliance, the venous reservoir displayed in the heart. This means that the blood is now sitting in the heart, which increases venous return, right? And the pressure, because there is more sitting in the heart. If there is more venous compliance, there is more blood in the veins. So less blood going to the heart, less blood sitting in the heart. This we said, it's all clear. Now, let's understand a relationship between something. Now, I'm going to ask you this. You are going to explain it with me. If I, let's say, do this, constrict here, okay? Constrict, vasoconstriction. What will happen to the pressure here? Before it, before it, increase, increase, okay. After it, after it, decrease. So you all understand. Hence, we get this graph. This is the arteriole. We constrict here. If we constrict here, after it decrease, before it increase. If we dilate, after it decrease, sorry, before it decrease, after it increase. After it decrease, before, after. Easy. The black is normal. Red is dilation. Gray is constriction. And this, wait, this is what we constrict. Sorry, this is what we constricted. So everything, hey, black, look at the black. Black is normal. If we constrict, everything before it will increase, everything after it pressure will decrease. If we dilate, everything before it will decrease, and everything after it will increase. Because you're allowing more blood, more space for this to come, and you're putting more blood in what's after it. That's how the pressure is affected. How is this relevant? See the vein. If you constrict, let me erase everything first. Okay. Stay with me. If you constrict this one, constrict this one. How much blood will be going to the vein, more or less. So venous return decrease. What did we say about the right atrial pressure? Right atrial pressure. How does it change? It changes based on how much blood is sitting in it. Now, do you think that when an arteriole constrict or dilate, anything will change in the atrium? Atrium is chilling, nothing will change in it. Only the flow, but still the blood is not pooling in it or pooling in the vein. The right atrial pressure only changes when there is blood sitting more in it or less in it. But here it's not sitting more or less, it's just flowing through more or less. So this remains unchanged. Unchanged. So the same. Let's take a look at how this will look like in the graph right now. Boom. The same. Nothing changed. You're not putting more blood in it or less blood in it. When do you put more blood in it? When you give transfusion, when you increase the volume, or when you constrict the veins, so you shift the blood from the veins to the atrium. But that's not happening. Nothing is being shifted. Nothing is being displaced. Why would the right atrial pressure change? It will not. It stays the same. The only thing that will change when the arterial resistance increase or decrease is the venous return. So red is increase or decrease? Yeah, exactly. It's the same amount of blood. It's not like more blood is going or less blood is going. Only the venous return is changing. So the red one is what? I want you to explain it, not me. You explain it. What is the red one? Arterial. Resistance increase or decrease? Vasoconstriction or dilation? What decrease? Tell me dilation, constriction. Less resistance or dilation. Yes, dilation. So red is dilation. This is a typo. Sorry. This is a. Wait a second. I'll just erase this for the sake of this. I will correct it and send it back to GND, inshallah. Let's go back to it. So we said, remember this graph. We said when there is dilation, there is more pressure or more venous return. Same thing here. Red, more pressure, more venous return. Pink or purple, constriction, so less venous return. Easy, easy. All got it? Perfect. Okay, why does the pressure in the atrium remains the same? Because we said that think of it, what changes the right atrial pressure? I told you two things. Actually, it's one thing that changes it. One thing. If there is more blood sitting in the right atrium or less blood, the pressure will change. When do less blood or more blood sit? Let's say more. When there is more volume in the blood in general, or when the veins stop pooling and then they give everything to the heart. There is more blood now sitting in the heart. But in this case, exercise will increase the right atrial pressure. Yeah, it could. It could, yeah. And another thing here is that when the arterial constrict or dilate, they allow more blood to go into the vein. But there is no actual more blood in the body. It's the same amount of blood. We didn't change anything. So still, when the atrial pressure is 7, it will stop everything under it. But in the other scenarios, if the atrial pressure is 7, like in this one, in this red graph, it will not change the blood return because the veins are now narrow. they're pushing everything so hard, or there is more blood and the blood itself is pushing everything so hard. Got it? Red, dilate. Pink, constrict. The arterial. I will write it inshallah and send it back to GND and they can send the corrected version to this slide because I made a mistake. Actually, I can add it now if you want. Let me see. So it's this one. It's this one, yeah. More resistance or constriction, less venous return. So I can put it right now. Let's keep it. We have just a few slides left. I promise the last concept. Don't worry, don't worry. It's a long lecture. It's a three-part lecture. I'm giving it in one time. So the doctor gave it to you on multiple, I think, 2 lectures. So I'm almost done. Let's go back slide. Sorry about that. Okay. So we were here. Okay. Now let us agree on some things. We will finish it quickly, inshallah. Let's agree on some things. First, do we agree that if more blood returns to the heart, there is more blood leaving the heart? I want to see if you agree or no. What do we call blood leaving the heart? Cardiac output. Boom, just change this. Venous return, change it to cardiac output. Because if I I am pushing out what I am getting. You give me more blood, I will give you more blood. You give me more venous return, I will give you more cardiac output. They are the same. Yes, you mashallah know, but I still didn't get to Starlings though. Mashallah, yes. But here they told you in this graph something is missing. Remember when I said the contractility, if you squeeze the heart more, there is more blood coming out? Where is the contractility here? There is no line for contractility. So someone said, you know what? Add a line just for contractility. That's it. This line, it means contractility. If we increase contractility, there is more cardiac output. Decrease contractility, less cardiac output. Now you will be saying, okay, now you said increased contractility is more cardiac output, but why is it less atrial pressure? I will answer your question by saying, if you have a heart, you squeeze it more, you put more blood out. That's more cardiac output. What happens to the blood here in the heart? You squeezed it all. It's finished. You squeezed all the blood. Less blood in the heart, so less pressure in the atrium. We're done. That's it. And the opposite is true. If you decrease contractility, you squeeze less. There is more blood sitting in the heart and less exiting. Yes, I can repeat. This is the heart. What happens if you squeeze more? More blood will go out and less blood will be in. But it's more pressure while you're squeezing. You squeezed it. It's gone. You squeeze it. It doesn't happen like the measurement happened like when you squeeze it. No, you squeeze it. It's out. Now what will happen to the atrial pressure generally? There will be less blood in it, so less pressure in it. It's like it becomes a vacuum. If it has less blood in it, it's like a vacuum. It sucks more blood out from the vein because there is no blood in it. All the blood in it is being thrown out. You get it? Perfect. You know how you maybe in the pool get a water bottle that's empty, and when you squeeze it and put it in the water and release it, it will suck more water in it. Why? Because you squeezed it. So what will happen in the pressure inside? It will decrease the pressure, and once you let go of it, it will suck the water in it because you squeezed it. You pushed all the air out of it. This is the same concept. You squeeze the heart, increase contractility. So there is more blood exiting. That's one, cardiac output. And second, there is less blood in the heart, so less pressure in the right atrium. That's done. We are done. Now we finished the whole curve. Tell me, was it easy or not? The whole curve is done. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Okay. So what the factors that are changing contractility are sympathetic. Sympathetic tone will increase the power. Epinephrine is like the sympathetic. Positive inotropic drug. And this you'll probably get it in the exam. What is positive inotropic? Inotropic means contractility. That's it. There is no special, but they just had to make a term for it. Inotropic exactly means contractility. So positive inotropic means increase contractility drug. Negative inotropic means decrease contractility drug. So increase contractility drug will increase contractility. Decrease contractility drug will decrease contractility. That's it. Muscle death, of course. When the muscle is not functioning, there is no contractility. Like, this is obvious. So there's not much here to do. Easy. This is a summary. You can play with it. You can take the star and put it anywhere, or ask yourself questions, quiz yourself. Say, oh, what happens here? What happens there? So I have a few questions for you if you want. Let's say we increase sympathetic tone of the veins. You are now sitting at the star. Where will you go next? Tell me. Maybe this is confusing because there's too many lines. From here, which one? This or this? Which one? So tell me in terms of, because you're saying go up, decrease. Which letter? Which letter? Okay, so you increase the sympathetic tone of the vein. First of all. No, I said the vein only, vein. Why contractility? I said vein. You increase the sympathetic tone of the vein only. So the vein, sympathetic, dilate or constrict? Constrict. Does this mean less or more compliance? Constrict, less or more compliance? Less. So the graph will go where? Now you start saying. That's good, mashallah. Okay. Say you are a doctor now and a guy came to you and you gave him a positive inotropic drug. A positive inotropic drug. And the star is here. Where will it go? Which letter? Someone asked how do you know if it goes G or F? Okay. Okay, perfect. Good question. Now you think of it this way. If there is sympathetic tone in the vein, there is constriction. Do you agree? Stay with me. Do you agree? And if there is constriction, first, think, what will happen to the venous return? Now you squeeze the vein. So there is more blood going to the heart. Yes or no? I can't see your message if you're typing. Okay. And now because you constricted the vein, where will the blood sit? The blood is no longer sitting in the vein. It will sit somewhere. Where will it sit? It will sit everywhere. So it will sit also more in the right atrium. And if it sits more in the right atrium, does that increase the pressure or keeps it the same? Yes. So take a look now at G. G is this. G is unchanged right atrial pressure, but F both change. C, F, both change. It might be confusing because the graph is poorly drawn, but do you agree now? It's F. Since you mentioned G, when does G happen? When you increase the sympathetic, sorry, when does G happen? Just tell me. Don't tell me the person. When does G happen? It's written. I mean, but do you understand why G happens when this happens? When this dilates or goes to the decrease arterial tone means yes, parasympathetic. So dilate. Perfect. Perfect. Actually, I don't think there is parasympathetic to the arteries, but I get what you mean. That's dilation. I'm not sure honestly, but it's dilation. Dilation less sympathetic. No, no, it's okay. But your understanding is in the right thing. But when you take neuro, you will find out that there are things in the body that are weird. Something sympathetic, something para. But don't worry about it right now, okay? I don't want you to worry about it. But your thinking is fine, mashallah. Uh, okay. Next. So G without changing, yes, which is when the arterial resistance changes, when it becomes less resistant. All I understand, is there anything here you don't understand? And by the way, for you, Humaira Khaldi, there is parasympathetic in the veins. No, I don't think it's all of them. There is like it's there. Don't go into details. Do you have any questions, guys? And then this graph or questions? Because I'm gonna ask you now. I'm gonna quiz you. I spoiled this for you. What's the answer? MashaAllah. I'm not even gonna explain it. You will explain it. Oh, we're done. Wow. So this is feedback. If you may, guys, please scan this code and write your honest feedback for GND about this PAL session. Before I conclude, is there anyone that has any questions, anything that's not clear I can clarify or help with? Well, since it doesn't seem there's any question, of course, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you benefit from this question. This is a dua you say after you study. It's a very nice dua. For the exam, like this is general advice. When you're studying, make sure you know what you're reading or what's happening. Make sure you understand. Everyone always tells you, "Oh, understand, don't memorize," but it's really true. Don't just memorize, "Oh, this happens and that happens." No, understand why. Medicine, there's always a reason for everything happening. And if you understand the mechanisms behind everything happening in our body, you will feel like you are unstoppable in the exam because you understand everything. Nothing will stop you in the exam from getting the answer right. Inshallah. الله يوفقكم جميعا و I hope you all benefit from this. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I'm glad it's helpful to you.